In this video, we will review the process for analyzing argumentative texts. Our goal is that you will be able to complete a graphic organizer by analyzing two argumentative texts on the same topic. When reading an argumentative text, you always want to look for the author's claim, or their position or opinion on the issue being discussed. It's often stated as a fact. The author will give their claim early on in the argument, usually in the introduction, and will follow it up with the reasons why you should believe their claim. The claim and reasons are called the thesis of the argument. The body paragraphs, or the main part of the argumentative text, will include evidence to support the claim. As you're reading, you will ask yourself, are the facts, quotes, statistics, and other information presented enough to convince me that the author's claim is worth considering? Rhetorical strategies refer to the approach or the techniques that an author uses to present the argument. Understanding the different rhetorical strategies is important as you analyze argumentative text. One rhetorical strategy is to mix ethos, pathos, and logos appeals in with the author's evidence. As authors present their evidence, they will also try to appeal to your sense of trust, your emotional state, or convince you with logic. Using these kinds of appeals can be a very effective strategy. Other rhetorical strategies are used in the way authors construct their sentences. Here are some common examples. Authors will sometimes use repetition, which is the use of words and phrases over and over in order to emphasize an idea. The important concept with repetition is that you are truly emphasizing an idea. You don't want to repeat words just for the sake of repeating them. If you notice repetition, look for what is being repeated and then ask yourself, what is it that these repeated words are telling me? What is it that the author wants me to truly understand? Another way an author can emphasize an idea is by repeating the grammatical structure of a sentence. This is called parallelism. Read the example of parallelism to yourself, and you will hear the repeated grammatical structure. The use of parallelism is a very intentional technique. A writer would not want to include a whole entire text of parallel structure because that would make the reading sound boring. But when used properly, it can add character to your writing. Rhetorical questions are strategically placed questions within a text that don't require an answer but are meant to get the reader thinking. In using them, the author hopes that the answer will be obvious to the reader. The rhetorical device called antithesis means that you use contrasting ideas within a sentence. This is often done for effect. For example, speech is silver, but silence is gold. Silver and gold are contrasting elements, and so it's showing the contrast between speech and silence. Another example would be, to err is human, to forgive divine. You probably notice that there is also parallelism in these statements. Often antithesis and parallelism go together. As you analyze argumentative text, you also want to identify any faulty reasoning that the author presents. Faulty reasoning makes an argument weaker and includes things like a red herring technique, which is when you present something that distracts from the real argument. Circular reasoning, which is trying to prove the claim by just restating it another way. Or a straw man argument, which is when the author brings a point into the argument that really isn't actually made. Faulty reasoning can appear anywhere in the argument, from the introduction to the conclusion, or even mixed in with different types of evidence and emotional appeals. Remember, rhetorical strategies strengthen an argument and are often used to emphasize a main idea. Logical fallacies or faulty reasoning will weaken the argument and often will be used to distract from the real issue. The things we just discussed help you analyze the meat of the text, the main parts of the text itself. But you also need to keep the big picture in mind, and to do this, we're going to remember the term SOAPSTone. SOAPSTone is an acronym that includes the speaker, the occasion, the audience, the purpose, the setting, and the overall tone of the text. Keeping in mind these who, what, where, why elements of the text can help you determine why the author made some of the choices that were made. The rhetorical strategies, any logical fallacies, and any word choices are all going to be dependent on these things. Authors very intentionally choose their words based on the occasion, the audience, the purpose, the setting, and the overall tone that they want to create. Now you're ready. You will analyze 2 argumentative texts on the same topic. Each of the texts will take a different position on the issue. Complete the chart using the information from both texts.